Title card appears with the logo of the Park Service, Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. A graphic appears celebrating 105 years of the National Park Service. What is your favorite memory at a national park? Screen fades to black and opens on
My
a
favorite
ranger
memory
sitting on a
at a
stone
national
bench
park
in a
unit
park
was
surrounded by
probably my first
trees.
memory of a national park unit. It was, as a little boy growing up in Tennessee, our family trips frequently were to national park units, either around us in the state of Tennessee
the ranger
or
and his
close to us
family
in
at Great
Georgia,
Smoky Mountains
Kentucky,
National Park in front of a trail
Missouri,
sign.
etc. So
Image
as a
goes
little
back
boy
to
going
the
to
park
Mammoth
ranger
Cave,
sitting on a bench in the park.
standing in the back of the tours that the interpreters would give and just asking the ranger tons and tons of questions and thinking how really cool it was that that was their job and they got paid to do that. So when I became a National Park Service employee, I found one of the rangers who had retired, who I had bothered as a little boy, to thank her for the patience she had as an adult, and that I would now try to have that same patience in the position that she was in. So I think that's probably my favorite memory, is eating in a cave, walking in a cave, but really being inspired by the people that worked in that cave, who were rangers just like me.
Image fades to show a park ranger standing in front of Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site.
Grand Canyon on a cross-country trip, and be able to experience the Grand Canyon with my kids and let them see the Grand Canyon for the very first time, to see how it impacted them, and along with myself, because it lets me know just how powerful of a force this was on this earth to create what was there. So that was my favorite memory in the national.
Screen changes to show a park ranger sitting inside an exhibit space of Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site.
I think it was 2015, right when I got to Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. We had a social conscious gathering along with the anniversary. And it was just great just to see all the camaraderie, all the people from different places, all the dignitaries, of course the Little Rock Nine, and just to see the community come out and embrace it. And it was just a great moment. I got a chance to escort Andrew Young and just talk to different people and hear people from different perspectives, different organizers. So that was one of my funnest and best memories working with the Park Service.
An image changed now
My
to
favorite
show a
memory
woman
of a
standing
national
at
park,
historic gas pumps.
I had a
Gas
couple
pumps
of
say
them,
mobile
actually.
gas special.
My son was 4 years old, and I took him to Redwood National Forest up in Northern California, and we bought a passport book. And at that point, we were making a challenge to ourselves to see as many national parks as we could before he graduated from high school. He later amended that to when he graduated from college, so we got a little more time to finish it. But the other favorite memory that
back to
was
the
really,
woman standing at the historic gas
my wife
station.
said it made her a better citizen, a better American. When we did a Civil War themed vacation, and we went to about 30 different national parks, all centered around the Civil War. And we became very intimate with a lot of different parks. In fact, my wife says she never knew you could be so intimate in a park. So I've got a lot of favorite memories, a lot of good memories of national parks through the years.
Image changes to show a male park ranger inside an exhibit space. A photo appears of a ranger standing with Andrew Young. The photo changes now to show park rangers with Minnie Jean Brown, one of the Little Rock Nine. Image goes back to the park ranger in the exhibit space.
It has been a great pleasure having this opportunity of meeting such admirable people. And I truly believe that I will treasure these memories, and they will go with me wherever.
Image changed now to show a female park ranger standing at the Elizabeth Eckford bus bench in Little Rock, Arkansas.
I grew up in the National Park Service, but I'd probably say any time that I had an opportunity to be with my dad.
A photo of the ranger with her father, who is also a park ranger. A photo of Battery Potter, a coastal fortification at Gateway National Recreation Area in Sandy Hook, New Jersey. A photo of the Sandy Hook Lighthouse at Sandy Hook, New Jersey, part of Gateway. The park ranger, Ranger Rebecca, inside the lighthouse.
Ahead of us in the lighthouse and scare me. Also
Back to the park ranger at the bench. The park ranger as a little girl learning how to ride a bike. The park ranger swimming at the Atlantic Ocean. Back to the park ranger at the bench.
Today would probably be my favorite memories.
The image changes now to show a young park ranger on the steps in front of a home on Park Street.
DC for the second time in my life, not the first, but while I was there with a group of individuals.
The image changes to show the ranger with his friends outside of the White House.
Tour DC together.
Ranger Noah on the Washington Mall with the Washington Monument in the background. Ranger Noah and his friends by the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., the Jefferson Memorial in the background. The image changes back to Ranger Noah in front of the house in Little Rock.
To anywhere else along the National Mall. All of these wonderful units I passed by, learned about, and little did I know that they were connected to this organization built to preserve our nation's history and our natural wonders.
In music resumes, title card appears. What is your favorite NPS unit? The image now shows the ranger on the park bench in the park again.
Every time I go and visit a new place, I'm just captivated, not just by the resource, but by
An image appears of Ranger Brian and his brother at Yosemite National Park.
I love Hot Springs
Back to the
National
ranger
Park.
in the
I
park
love
on the bus
National
bench.
Park. I love Central High School National Historic Site. But I think the place I'm most looking forward to is the next place, and the story I've not learned yet, and the beauty of this country and our stories I've just not gotten to see yet. That's my favorite part.
Image changes to the park ranger in front of Central High School National Historic
is the Grand
Site.
Canyon. I love the Grand Canyon. I love just the scenery. I love being there and just looking at the majestic views and just knowing what went on there so long ago. I just love the Grand Canyon.
The image changes back to the park ranger inside of the exhibit space, sitting down.
Probably have to be the Grand Canyon. Going there for fundamentals was a good opportunity, great opportunity to get a chance to see the scenery and learn from the Albright Center. But that was probably, I'd say, being out there for 2 weeks, it was a great experience, and that was my favorite site so far, just to embrace it and experience it all.
An image changes back to the woman in front of the historic gas station.
Past to come up with this. National parks are so varied in their the types of parks there are. You know, from the battlefields that we visited, the landscape type parks.
An image appears showing Grand Tetons National Park.
Grand Canyon, Yellowstone.
An image appears showing Patty's family at Petrified Forest National Park. Back to the woman at the gas station.
By far, I think the mountains are they're always calling, and so Yellowstone.
An image appears again showing Patty and her family at Yellowstone National Park.
Really, I feel comfortable there. You know, my wife says that Mount Rainier is that's her mountain. So picking one is hard. They're all great for different reasons.
Video goes back to Ranger Fabian in the exhibit space at Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. An image appears that shows the Grand Canyon. Back to Fabian in Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site exhibit space.
We can see that this is a park, this is a site that has been with us, or has been in this earth for millions and millions of years. Therefore, when I think about this, when I think about the age of the canyon, it often reminds me of our mortality. This is a place that was here before us, and it's a place that will remain here once we are all gone.
The image cuts again
Favorite
to the
national
female
park,
ranger
hopefully none of
standing at the
parks that I've
Elizabeth
worked at
Eckford
will
bus
take offense
bench.
to this, but I think it's fair if I just don't choose a favorite of the places I've worked at. I really, really love Adams National Historic Park.
An
in
image
Quincy,
appears of Ranger
Massachusetts.
Rebecca
I was
and her
not
friend
a
at
John
Adams
Adams
National
fan
Historic
until I
Park
went
in
to that
Quincy,
site. I knew
Massachusetts.
it
Another photo appears of a
like that,
passport book with
I
stamps and
learned
junior
so
ranger
much
badges.
about him and Abigail,
Back
and
to
really came
Ranger
to
Rebecca
respect
at the
them
bus
that
bench.
site. And what has made Adams so special out of all of the historical homes that I've toured is that when you go into Peacefield, which is the home that John Adams and Abigail retired to, everything in the home, all the furniture, everything is original to several generations of the Adams family. You smell the old when you walk in the house, and there's even a horseshoe above the door that Abigail placed there herself, and it has never left that spot. And so I think that is what has made that site so special and has really stood out to me out of the dozens of parks that I've been able to go to.
The image changes again to show Ranger Noah sitting on the steps in front of a house on Park Street in Little Rock, Arkansas. An image appears of Ranger Noah standing with another park ranger at Buffalo National River.
It's certainly the one that I remember.
Back to Noah on the steps in front of the house on Park Street.
I went with my cousins camping, and ever since then I try to go back as much as humanly possible to float the river, hike the trails, or just simply enjoy time with the community.
Sitting on the bench in the park.
All the things that you see behind me. It's the stories, it's the buildings, it's the cultural resources, it's the natural resources.
An image appears of Ranger Brian and Youth Leadership Academy participants inside the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Image cuts back to Brian in the park.
No story is the same. No day at work is ever the same. And that is both the joy and the challenge in being a National Park Service employee. But it's one that I look forward to and savor every day.
Image changes to show the park ranger Randy standing in front of Central High School.
As being a little black boy growing up here in the United States, here in Little Rock, and understanding what went on with the integration to the high school in 1957, it means a lot to me because now I get to work here and get to meet people.
A series of photos appears. Ranger Randy and Minnie Jean Brown Tricky, Ranger Randy and Elizabeth Eckford, Ranger Randy with Ernest Green and Dr. Terrence Roberts, and Ranger Randy with Alma Mothershed Wetware, members of the Little Rock Nine.
Service mean to me.
The image changes again to show Ranger Evan inside of the exhibit space at Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. A photo of Ranger Tony and Chief Evan in front of a painting of the Little Rock Nine. A photo of Chief Evan performing maintenance work outside of the Visitor Center. Back to Evan inside the exhibit space.
The whole concept of the National Park Service until getting into college. And I'm from a small town in Columbus, Mississippi, and I don't think people from my community or people from my area knew about the opportunity with the National Park Service. So once it was brought up to me by an advisor in college, and we had people, coming to our college days and career days, it was it showed me an opportunity, and I think I want to show people from my area, people from my community, people from my school about the different opportunities that the National Park Service can provide.
The screen changes again to volunteer Patty standing in front of the historic gas station.
About maintaining and preserving our heritage as Americans. Even the ugly stories that through the years, such as what happened here to the Little Rock Nine, growth from those stories make us better citizens today. And if people take the information and that they gain from these parks and learn from it and embody it within themselves, it makes us all better people. It makes us all better citizens. So the National Park Service is about becoming better citizens in general.
Video changes to show Ranger Fabian inside the exhibit space in Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site.
And the historical integrity of the places that we have been entrusted with.
Video changes again to show Ranger Rebecca standing at the Elizabeth Eckford bus bench. Photo appears of Ranger Rebecca with her fiancé in various national parks, as well as a photo of Rebecca and her mother at Sandy Hook, New Jersey.
Because of my father's career in the National Park Service,
The video cuts back to Ranger Rebecca at the bus bench.
And they got married at my dad's National Park Service site. So I quite literally wouldn't exist without this agency. So it is everything to me. Everywhere that I've worked has been a wonderful
series of photos appears Ranger Rebecca at Vicksburg National Military Park promoting the solar eclipse in 2017. Ranger Rebecca with the descendant of President Grant at Appomattox Courthouse. Ranger Rebecca inside of Grant's tomb standing with the coffins of Grant and his wife. Ranger Rebecca at Fort McHenry National Monument and Historic Shrine. Back to Ranger Rebecca at the bus bench.
The National Park
Ranger
Service
Noah in front of the house
history.
on Park Street.
Whether it's the history of our natural wonders or history like here at Little Rock Central High School. It's everyday stories that we even live today that will one day be history. It is our deeper connection with these locations and stories that help us all identify what it means to be American. that is what I enjoy about the National Park
A
Service.
series of videos of all
Happy
the rangers
birthday,
you've just
National
seen
Park
saying
Service.
happy birthday to the National Park
Happy
Service.
birthday, National Park Service.
Happy birthday to the National Park Service.
Happy birthday, National Park Service.
Feliz cumpleaños al servicio de Parques Nacionales.
Happy birthday to the National Park Service.
Happy birthday, National Park Service.
End credits. 105 years of the National Park Service. Starring the staff of Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. Upbeat music is playing. This film was filmed and edited by Ranger Rebecca Hoffman. Music and graphics created with Adobe Premiere Pro 2020. Logo of Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site, as well as their social media handles.